Yes, there we go, guys. Woohoo! Yes, it's Sunday. It's Sunday, guys. This means another episode of A Drink with Brink, where I talk with other indie creators about their lives and careers and books and campaigns. Because I am kind of done with mainstream comics, right? So indie comics is where the fun is, where the talent is, guys. So yeah. I hope you're all having a great Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day, right? So yeah, my day so far, I've just been busy preparing shipments for the American Bliss fulfillment, right? So a lot of work. So I don't really have many interesting things to show today. I did upload something new, I think yesterday, a double page splash of Perfect 10 issue 4. We are working on Perfect 10 issue 4, and Daniel just colored this double page splash, and he made a recording, and you can see the process, and I uploaded that to the channel. You can check it out, guys, if you want a little preview of the next book, right? So yeah, by the way, if you're watching right now, press the like button. Press the like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm, you know. And I saw that Mike left a message in the chat. He says, "I'll have to catch this replay, Dave, but I will watch it tonight. Have a good drink and a good day." Thank you, Mike. Thank you, and hi, if you're watching the replay. So yeah, guys, usually I have guests that have comic books and that have active campaigns, so we can show the campaigns, you know. But today is a little bit different. And I'm not really sure either. This is his show, so let's just bring the guest on and let's have some fun. So let's have a warm welcome for Mr. Calvin Culotta.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Calvin. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
You did. There are actually two ways that I found people pronounce it. Gulotta, which is what you hear in America a lot, and Gulotta, which is the correct pronunciation. So either way, I'm fine with it. But
right.
Gulotta is what I hear a lot over here in the States.
In the States. You're from the States.
Right. That is correct. I am in Kansas.
Oh, Kansas. Right. All right. So what's life like in Kansas? Is it good?
Yeah, I'd say it's good. There's the good thing about being in the Midwest is you kind of get all the seasons. versus if you're over kind of coastal, it's more summery, springtime.
Hmm.
Like when it comes to winter, you're more like the spring temperatures around the 60 degrees, 70 degrees, of course, depending where you are. But
Right.
yeah, in the Midwest, we get all the seasons, so that's what I enjoy most about being here in the Midwest.
All right. All right. Great. Okay, Calvin. Before we continue with this interview, I need to ask you the question: what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Chobani, the yogurt drink.
Chubani? That's a
Mhm.
yogurt drink.
Yeah, I mean it's yogurt, but I got the drink version of it.
Right. Okay. We don't have it here. Great.
It's like
Tony Horton.
Greek yogurt.
Welcome, Tony. Hello, Dave. Hope all is well. Keep on creating, everyone. And then Shoebox Heroes. That's his label. Thank you for dropping by, Tony. Uh, Great. All right, Kelvin. So, you're an artist,
I'm an author, so I hired a
author,
comic. Yes, I hired a comic book studio called Light Comics to do all the artwork for me. I have tried my hand at being an artist. I am not blessed with that gift. So a
Mhm.
lot of my characters are poorly sketched out. Let's say that.
Right?
And so for Underworld Don, the process was looking for somebody obviously who's better at artistry than myself. And of course, when you're looking for artists and you have an idea, like I had, when you're describing to them your characters, typically you want to have a good character description. Thankfully, I had artwork that I had sketched out already, and I had paid other artists here and there to kind of make better renditions here and there. Um, so that's how I sort of got all my characters down. Was I would kind of sketch them out first, draw them first myself if I could, and just show those to the artist. Say, hey, here's kind of like a rough, very rough sketch of what they look like, and if you could obviously make them look better, that's what I'm paying you to do. So that's how that happened.
Okay. So what's your goal? So you create characters, right? You sketch characters. You think about their stories, right?
Right. So
So what's your goal? What do you want to do with the art that you commission?
my goal for Underworld Dawn is to I've got, I think, written so far, if we average out 50 pages per comic, probably around 20 issues that are ready to go right now.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
20
as far and
scripts
that's
ready.
just for Underworld Dawn. Yeah, so if I
Wow.
get all the funding I need for my campaign, as soon as the funding's done, issue number two will be ready to go. Same thing for number three, four, all the way up to issue 20. And that's just for Underworld Dawn. I've been writing since, I want to say middle school, so sixth, seventh grade. And I've got probably written out about uh, 10 different stories that have their own different issues. So I've got children's stories, I've got more of the mature content like Underworld Dawn. I've also got, probably I would call them around teenage, rated teen content as well. So I've got quite a lot that I'm trying to do and get out into the comic book form. Underworld Dawn is just the first of many to come, hopefully. But like I said, Underworld Dawn is going to be my spearhead, so to
Right.
speak, into my
Right. So
stories.
your goal is to make comics. You have this world, these creations. You want to make comics with them. And did you say you are working on issue two right now?
Oh, issue. So for Underworld Dawn, everything up to like all the way up to issue 20 is done for writing. It's all done.
Completely drawn also.
Oh no, not drawn, just writing, just writing.
Script. Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that was kind of, going from nothing, like ground zero. I had no friends that are in this industry. I had no connections. I didn't have a Twitter until Elon Musk had bought it out.
All right. Yeah.
Um, and I kind of figured, if you're going to network, if you're going to meet new people, such as your good self, for example, you have to have some sort of social networking platform. I
Hmm.
am not. a social butterfly, so to speak. I'm usually the quiet person, like in school, or the quiet friend.
Yeah.
But to really
The
get yourself
creative
out there,
type.
and
Yeah.
yeah, to get yourself
Right.
out there in networking, you have to have some platform, so to speak.
Right.
Um, and since I am, unknown, I knew that when I did the first issue of Underworld Don, I would have to make it free. So on my website, if you click read, the full first 50 pages are completely free. There's no ads, there's no pop-ups. I want to make sure that the reading experience was as fluid as possible. I didn't want any. I know sometimes, like my wife, she really likes webtoons. So when she'll go to like click next or something like that, sometimes a pop-up will come up over the next button, and she'll click the pop-up on accident. And then that's I didn't want readers to have that annoyance. So it's all free. There's no ads.
Hmm.
And I'm using the first issue to get my name out there to show people, what I can do, what stories that I can write, and hopefully with that I can create a fan base. And then the future for Underworld Dawn is, a campaign for issue number 2. So I've kind of looked at what other creators have done, what other people have offered. Um, Alternative covers seem to be a big thing. You get this cover if you do this much, or
Hmm.
this cover if you do this much.
Right.
Stickers, plushies, things like that. I've been looking into a lot of that, and
Yeah, don't
uh,
don't go don't go too crazy, right? This is my little tip. Don't go too crazy because stretch goals can really eat up your budget, man. So so
yeah,
focus
thank you for the tip for
focus
sure.
on the book, and if you have some means to do it, then yeah, make stickers and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I
But
think
watch out,
the
man.
one I'm leaning towards the most, that I think a lot of people seem to like and enjoy, are like coffee
Hmm.
mugs, just something to have or drink. And
All right,
even
yeah,
even this shirt is kind of like, I've been playing around with T-shirts from different, what would you call them, printers, like T-shirt printers,
sure, yeah,
because I don't want someone who it could become a potential fan to support me and then get a T-shirt that's not very good quality. I don't,
hmm,
since first impressions matter a lot.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't want, someone to wash this and then it comes out, the whole artwork is just awful looking. So I've been ordering some T-shirts from a few different printers, washing them, wearing them, seeing how well they hold up.
right, yes, yes. You're in this stage or phase that you're looking for the best quality of merch and
Correct. Yeah.
right,
The best quality that I can, that I can afford and give to potential fans and customers.
right,
I know, looking at a few of these different printers, my profit margins are pretty pretty small, but really I'm really not in it for profit yet. I'm in it to just get a successful campaign so I can fund issue number 2. Because Underworld Dawn number 1 was completely out of pocket and pretty expensive. When you take
mhm,
into, cover art, paneling, lettering,
right.
coloring those panels. I even have a couple of um, videos for each of the main cast, each of the 4 characters.
Oh
I
wow, you made
got
trailers, yeah?
some.
Oh cool.
Yeah, they're like, I hired a really good composer to do some music for me, and then I hired I think you would call them an animator. So he animated the character portraits to kind of move sort of with the music. Um,
Cool.
So yeah, it was all quite costly. So if I, like I said, I'm not
Right.
in it for profit yet. I'm just in it to get a successful
Yes.
second campaign. I'll worry about profit later, but
Yes. Yes.
successful
You
campaign
are
is
pretty
most
serious
important.
about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And if if the stars align and I can do it for a full time career, great. But right now I'm just focused on
Hmm.
building a fan base, getting my name out
Yeah.
there. Even going to, like, Kansas City has like our own Comic Con. Getting a booth and going to that.
Sure.
Just doing what I can to, like I said, get out there and build that fan base.
But you don't have printed books yet, right? So issue
Correct.
one is still digital.
Correct. That is correct.
Right.
I'm kind of deciding when I do the campaign for issue number 2. I've had some people reach out to me and ask me if I would be willing to print issue number 1,
Hmm.
and I may do something for campaign number 2 where if you pledge, like, I don't know, don't quote me on this. This is just stuff I'm thinking about. So nobody get
Yeah.
upset with me if I change prices later. But let's say you pledge like $40, $45, you get Underworld Don #2 and #1, so kind of a a combined
Hmm.
um, tier you can get there. So that's what
Right.
I've been playing around with. Or the other thought that I had, and I'm not sure I really want to do this because I just think it might not be as lucrative as doing it the previous way I'd mentioned, but doing just a very basic campaign for issue #1 where anybody who wants a hard copy of issue #1 can just pledge whatever it's going to cost me um, for that. So I think I like the second option better because it helps with campaign #2, and it also gives people both issues. So that's kind of what I'm playing with right now.
Okay. Okay. So to make clear, you do not yet have a like campaign in the making or a sign up page or anything
There is a
like
sign
that,
up
right?
page on the like you're on the main page right now. If you scroll down a little bit, there is a there's a
Here.
sign up button right there,
Right.
and you can click that and you can put in your email. I'm building like an email list out, and
Oh,
if you
great.
want to be the first to know when those campaigns go live, I'll send out kind of that email blast of hey, on the Roll Don issue #2 campaign, catch it on Indiegogo, whoever I decide to go with at this point.
Oh, that is perfect. Wait, I will put it in the chat, guys. So, Underworld Dawn, Dawn. There we go, and you can sign up there. It's a website, right? There's this option to sign up to a newsletter or something,
Yeah,
or
it's just an option to sign up to a newsletter, email blast, whatever you want
Mhm.
to call it. Um, that's how I'm actually trying to encourage as much as I can people to sign up because with censorship going the way that it seems to be going, who knows, how what'll happen in the future. I know that my comic is definitely immature, so I'm not sure. And I know of course on Twitter there's a lot of mature content, but like I said, who knows what the future is going to hold as far as censorship goes. So that email blast, the email list is definitely the best way to that I know to keep in contact with people if I'm banned or shadow banned or whatever you want to call it. Because that is also another fear of mine. I've noticed a lot of creators who are doing exactly what I'm trying to do, get a successful campaign going, and they'll get shadow banned on Indiegogo or
yeah,
Kickstarter or whatever it may be. So
yes,
again, that email list is the best way I know of to let everybody
Mhm.
know who's interested. Here's where the campaign is, and here's where to go.
Right, perfect. So, okay, you're setting things up. So where did the idea for Underworld Dawn come from?
Well, I grew up watching mob movies. A lot
This
of
is him, by
the
the way, right?
uh,
This is him, the character.
yeah, that's Clavius.
Right. Okay.
So that I grew up watching a lot of mob movies with my family,
Hmm.
and I've always been a very big fan of them. From Godfather to Goodfellas to anything like Analyze This, Analyze That, kind of like a comedy mob movie. And when I was picking, so I said I had a ton of stories to choose from, from kids' stories that I've got written out and everything. So I was deciding, well, do I want to do something, one of my superheroes that I have? Do I want to do a kids comic, or do I want to do something a little more mature as far as like my Underworld Don is, like I said, it's definitely more mature as far as the audience goes. And I saw when I was doing my research, a lot of people are doing superheroes. A lot of people um, seem to be into that space. There's a lot of competition. I mean, there's a lot of competition in comics, no matter what niche you decide to go for.
Sure.
But when I
Yep.
was looking at my stories, I was like, well, I don't really see anybody doing like a mafia, type comic, especially not
Hmm.
a mafia type comic that's based in a separate dimension, like my version of the underworld is.
Hmm.
So I thought, there wouldn't be a lot of competition um, with the niche that I'm going for here.
Hmm.
And it was a toss up between Underworld Dawn and one of my kids' stories because I know that there's a big market for children's stories and comics with the way politics are being integrated and stuff like Transformers and things like that that are traditionally
Yeah.
meant for children. Um, but I decided I wanted to do Underworld Don because there'd be a lot less competition from from what I saw.
Right, right. Thematically, this is pretty original. Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
Hmm. Great. So you made the sketch, right? So you already knew what he would look like, and then it got spiced up
Right.
by different artists who did this artwork.
Light Comics. It's so I cannot pronounce his name. I'm sorry to say, but I
All
call
right.
him Lan. Yeah, he's got an Eastern name that I'm sure that if I attempted to pronounce, I would just completely butcher it. So I call him Lan. He owns Light Comics, and it's a studio of extraordinarily talented artists.
Mm,
They worked really well with me. So when I was looking, I wanted someone who was professional and also who was an indie. I did not want to go to a big company. Number one, I'm sure I couldn't afford a huge company to do this. I'm sure it'd
mm,
be.
right.
This was already costly enough, but you go to a large company, they're charging, I don't
Sure.
know, $500 per page. So, in supporting indies, I went with Lan in his studio,
Mm,
and I mean, they were so great that he would give me tips on, what he would think would look good. He has gotten a few awards himself for manga and comics, so he definitely gave me some tips on how to do panels, on what he thinks would look good here and there, and I took his advice at certain points. Um, so yeah, when I gave him my sketches for like Clavius, I was like, look, here's what he, like I said, here's what he looks like. Spice him up, make him look a whole lot better than my poor my poor rendition,
right.
and they did a phenomenal job.
And you already knew that you wanted this anime vibe.
Yeah, I wanted something that was manga-ish and also with a blend of comic style to it. So something that was
Mm,
a little more, oh, what would you call it? A little more realistic in the way that it's drawn and colored, but not so anime that it looks like it is very very Japanese as far as that kind of style goes.
right.
So yeah, I think this is kind of, in my opinion, a perfect blend of that, and that's what I told him. He definitely specialized in the more manga style with his
Mm,
colorists and illustrators, but if you go to the comic, you can see there's a little bit more of realism and hard lines, I would say.
okay. We have a sneak peek of the comic. I'm not sure what I should press. There are some buttons here, but you told me that parts of this are like adult themed, right? So
Right.
I'm a
So
bit
you can
hesitant
go
to just
to.
press stuff.
I will let you know when it gets a little too adult
Right.
themed. But you can go if you wanted to. You could, the news is not going to be adult themed at all. It's just the news. So I completely had to redo the website. That's something
Mm,
that I think, if anybody watching this presently or in the future is like me and is a unknown indie, um, when you're making a website and you put in custom code, sometimes that code does not communicate well with the automation scripts that the web host uses
right.
to make everything look nice for iPhones or Androids
Hmm.
or tablets. So I got a lot of feedback from people saying, "Hey, you know, I've noticed that this news block over here looks a little odd," or when I'm reading the comic, the next button doesn't appear properly. It's over down in the corner. So I had to overhaul everything. I can only test so much. I would test everything on like the latest version of Android, latest version of iPhone. I did not take into consideration that some people may be on later versions of those phones and even tablets. So that was my big mistake in making my website. So I would highly suggest, again, anybody who's relatively unknown, or if you are a known indie creator and you don't have a website yet, use everything that the web host provides you as much as you can. And then if you have to inject any of your personal code, um, test it on multiple devices.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Uh,
I did the overhaul took me quite a while to do.
mhm.
And I even had a custom wallpaper that I had commissioned that I cannot use anymore because it does not communicate well with the automation script, sadly.
Oh no. Oh, that's a shame.
It's a little unfortunate. I'll probably look for a place that I can use it
Mm.
somewhere on the website eventually. But for right now, I had just completed this. About the whole website was done about 30 minutes before I came on your show. So this was all just done
Oh,
today,
really? Oh,
right?
exciting. Okay.
Yeah, like all the pages were done before that, but I just finished integrating all of my pages onto the live version of the site today.
Right. You've been busy
Of
today.
course, oh, very, very busy. But yeah, if you, the only time I would say that you might be wary of adult content is like from pages, I think like 10 to 15. So if you click read and you go to page 10 or 15, it gets a little spicy
Hmm.
from then on.
Okay.
But
Just you can guide me through your website. But first, I like to know who these characters are. Right. So you have some pretty designs here. Who's
yeah,
this
thank
this
you.
girl on
So
the left?
that's Firka. That's Firka. She's kind of my take on like what a Viking demon would be. She's got a really good backstory, and the biggest design challenge for me for her was her chainmail and her overall appearance. I'm a big fan of Shadowversity, and so he's pretty big on accurately portraying what chainmail or plate mail or what have you would look like on
Hmm.
a character. And since she comes from that sort of Viking period where Britain wasn't Britain, is kind of like Wessex and Northumbria and all that, I wanted
Right.
to as accurately as possible portray my rendition of what a fantasy Viking would look like. So yeah, the chainmail was definitely the hardest part to get correct on her. And
Mhm.
then design elements such as her skirt. You'll find later on why she wears that and why
Sure.
that is important to her. And then the one next to her is Vincenza. She is unlike the majority of the main cast, or all the main cast, I should say. She is natively born to hell. So
She's a
she
demon.
has, yes, she's a full-blooded, pure-blood demon. She is a succubus demon,
Right.
and she actually that the appearance that you're seeing right now is not what she truly looks like. You'll find out later one of the issues that she has another appearance that is her true form.
All right.
But for story purposes that I won't get into, I have this appearance that I've decided to introduce to people.
So her real appearance is not this pretty.
You could argue that her real appearance is prettier depending on
Mm.
how you,
Or your taste.
yeah, on your tastes.
If you like
Exactly.
some demons, then yeah, you may like the other form better. So, but this is like hell in the biblical sense, right? This or did you
You
create
could
a different
so
version?
so I took inspiration from like Dante's Inferno, the seven layers of hell,
All right.
and the underworld is in a separate pocket dimension that is located in hell.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I like to think of it, in the way that I've portrayed it, and it's actually an Easter egg on pages, I believe it's 20, 27, and 28. You can see a little bit of the train station and how you navigate from the dimension of the underworld into the seven rings of hell. But
Mm.
it's
All
it's
right.
um it's portal based. I'll say that, and the way that this particular part of the underworld likes to navigate through the seven layers of hell from its own dimension is through trains. I like
Okay.
trains. I'm a big train guy, so I just thought it was cool to have trains, that go, to the train station, and then
Yeah.
from there you go into your portal of
Like
whatever layer you want to go
yeah,
into.
yeah, like a hell
That's how I
train,
navigate.
right?
Yeah,
That's fun
yeah.
to design, right? So where can we go? What do you want me to navigate to?
So go ahead and scroll to the top, and you
Right.
can click on read.
Read. Sure.
That's safe. So here you can see I do have a content warning.
Mm-hmm.
I have had some readers come to me and say that some of the words, while they were not triggered by it, some of the wording used could be triggering to readers who have suffered, shall we say, um, certain hardships in their life that I wouldn't wish on anybody to suffer. But the wording that I used is on purpose because you have to take into consideration where this takes place. These are
Sure.
demons. Some of them are from hell. Some of them are created in the underworld. I'll say that. So
Okay.
it's really a terrible place. People, I try to get that across from the first couple pages. It is a very demonic plane. So
But
that's why I have that
it's a
concept right
place
here.
that has skyscrapers.
So the underworld was created by the ruling dons. There are four of them. So the ruling dons are from all different parts of the world's past.
Right. This is one of them.
Yes, that's one of them. That's
Right.
Herconi.
Right.
So he's one of four, and they were condemned to hell. Well, as you can imagine, that might not sit well with certain industrious folk who don't like to be in hell. So they decided that they were going to create the underworld. And in doing so, the underworld sort of reflects human society a little bit. That's why you see the skyscrapers in there. That's why you'll see trains. That's why you'll see
Mm,
certain human elements reflected in the underworld because it was created by people who used to be human.
okay. So this guy uses a lot of hair gel. Wow.
He he's I based him off of a certain insect from our world, his
Mm,
demonic appearance.
okay.
And for those who like that kind of insect, you can tell exactly what he is right away, especially by looking at his tie.
Right.
And
Oh, right.
I'll go ahead and spoil it for people watching. He's based off of a Hercules beetle. That's why his name is Herconi. That's why he's got those that that beetle horn. But I made it into his hair
Right. Yes.
and his of
And the
course his goatee, his stash,
goatee.
or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
They have two
But
moons also in
mhm.
hell.
In the underworld there are two moons, yes, and there is a reason for that that I read about later.
But you can't disclose right now. All right.
Can't disclose it right now.
If I press next, you just get to the next page, right?
Yeah,
So,
if you push next, you'll go to the gallery, and that's safe. You won't see anything
all right.
too
Cool.
bad there. Yeah, so you can kind of that's a big request that I got from people was originally I had this set up to where when you click next, you would be taken to page one, and then you
Hmm.
would have to click next over and over and over again.
Right.
Well, now it's to where if you just click on the first page where it says Don Melody right there, the with the
Right.
um,
So how many pages was this first issue?
50, it's 50
50
pages.
pages. That's hefty book. And you
Yeah,
are planning to print this, right? This will become a printed book.
it'll become a printed book for
Hmm.
the Underworld Don issue number 2 campaign. It'll be in one of the tiers that people can subscribe to or order to
Right.
get the first issue.
Sure.
But yeah, now it's where if you wanted to like click on the first page, you'll be brought up into kind of like this overlay. And if you're on mobile devices, you can scroll, you can swipe to the left or right, to go to the next or previous page. Or if you're on desktop, you'll be greeted with a menu that kind of has these two side arrows that you can click next or previous on. So it's a much easier way to navigate through the comic itself versus what I had it originally be.
Right.
And I did everything custom. I tried to make the reader experience as easily navigatable as possible. But a lot of people didn't like how they couldn't just swipe or scroll up. So I made them be able to do that to make it easier on those mobile devices and tablets.
All right. So what's happening here? He's losing his head or something.
Um, well, Clavius doesn't like it when people are rude, and he doesn't like it when people touches things.
Yeah. Do not touch
So
my property, he says, and then this guy's head disappears.
yeah, disintegrates. He has got a certain type of magic that I call the Eld, which people
Hmm.
will find out what that is later as well. Obviously, I can't go into too much detail about everything in issue number one, but he's got a very unique power set that God actually gave him for a very specific reason.
I can scroll safely, right?
Yeah, you can scroll safely. There's
Okay.
not going to be anything in here that's going to be too risky. You already scrolled past the first couple pages that could be considered risky.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't
but
even notice. So,
yeah,
who's the cutie demon? This girl. Who's
the
she?
cutie demon. Which one's the cutie demon in your eyes?
This one
That's
in the
Eleanor.
center.
That's Eleanor. Eleanor
Eleanor.
Dullahan.
Right.
Which, if you're Irish and you know what the Dullahan is, that's also an Easter egg.
All right. Hmm. I'm not Irish, so I don't know. I do know
Oh,
there is
I was just speaking in
a
generalities.
hero with that name.
The
And
Dullahan is, well, I'll spoil it if I say. I don't want to spoil things too much, but for those
just
interested,
give us a little bit.
it's it's the headless horseman in Irish
Okay.
folklore. That's what they call the headless horseman,
All right.
and she has that last name for a reason.
Okay. So she's one of the horsemen.
Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe one of her ancestors was. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Okay. But people can read all of it, right? All 50 pages you have here. People can access this freely. They can read it.
Yep,
Um,
for sure.
Great.
It's like I said, it's all 50 pages available for free. I've had people reach out to me and ask me if I would be interested in putting it on Webtoons.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm not completely against doing something like that, but for the sake of being completely independent, I do want to put and build everything on my own website.
All right. Sure. Guys, the link to this page is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description. Um, if you want to read a free comic book about a mob boss in hell, right? Then check it out. It looks nice.
Yeah, thank you. See, if you can kind of, hopefully you can kind of tell to what I was talking about, where it's got that anime style, but the colorization and the lines are a little more hard as far,
mm,
in respect to the, I guess you call it Western comics.
right.
So I wanted a kind of a blend of both styles, and I think that Light Comics did a very good job at blending both of those styles for me. And I also prefer the anime chat bubbles. I know some people think they're a little too big or there's a little too much space versus Western comics, but
Mhm.
I like that. I think they're easier to read. Personal preference,
Sure.
personal opinion, but that's why I went with the anime
Yeah,
style or the
it's
manga
because of
style.
the manga books are smaller, right? They're like pocket size, so this is why the balloons are uh, more prominent compared to like
Yeah,
American
like the
sized books,
Western,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So will this book when you print it, will it be American size or will it be manga size?
I would I want to do American size. I
Hmm.
know, like we had just discussed, I know that it goes against, usually it's a typical smaller sizes why you have those chat bubbles, but I prefer having the bigger comic books versus the smaller manga size.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and,
Hmm.
and and like I said, I also think that that'll just be again easier to read even in the American sized comics with chat bubbles like that. Um, so the first comic I actually ever read was with my Aunt Joy, and I think the late '90s was when I got into comics as well because of her. So and I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't like the kind of square style that Western comics had. It was just more. I just find it easier to read the manga style chat bubbles.
Sure. Dr. Ino, welcome. Um, welcome, welcome. All right.
And you can see
So
it right there. So that's the train station that's covered in ice.
yeah,
That's a little bit of an Easter egg that I thought would be nice for people to see and how you sort of navigate through the from the underworld into the seven layers of hell. So you can see that there's no where the train's going. There's no exit. There's no train tracks
okay.
anywhere in front of the train station. It's just behind it. So underneath later on in issue number 2, you'll see underneath of the train station there are portals that the trains go through.
Right. So this is also a like a in between place between the real world and the underworld?
Yeah, you could. I would say that it's like I said, it's a separate dimension of its own.
Mm,
But the way you get there is through hell.
okay,
Any of the seven layers you can get there,
right.
and yeah, it's in its own separate dimension.
And because this is hell, the trains are always late.
um, yeah, sure. We can go with that.
Is the size? Is this meant to be a double page spread? Maybe because of
Yes,
the
yes, it is.
right.
Yeah, that's why it's not that long,
Hmm.
the long version.
Yeah,
So
you
in the
probably
comic
couldn't
book,
make it work within the layout, right? Within the modules, you
it's a
couldn't
little
make.
difficult to get it to
Yeah.
work like that.
Hmm.
I've played around with it as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I'll play around with it a little bit more, but yes, currently that's the best way I can get it to work out in
Hmm.
that layout, while also keeping the sort of rectangle style for the rest of the pages, the
Sure.
long rectangle style for the rest of the pages. But yeah, when people get their hands on the hardcover of issue one for Underworld Don, that translation is definitely meant to be pages 27 and 28. When you open it, you'll see both of the 27
Right.
and 28 will have that spread of
All
the
right.
hardcover
This is
translation.
exactly the halfway point of the book. Yeah. Cool. Some.
We're,
Yeah.
we're getting
Cool.
into pages that are a little bloody. I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't know YouTube's
Well,
rules
yeah,
on
YouTube
that.
doesn't mind
So
blood, but they do mind like nipples and stuff. Yeah.
okay, there's nothing there. There will be stuff like that in the future, but there's nothing like that for issue number one yet.
All right. All right.
It's more so the wording that is pretty
Right.
vulgar. But again, you have to take into consideration where they're at.
So how did you come up with a story that is now like 20 issues, and all issues are the same size, basically?
If we stick to they could be agreed, they could be 60 pages. It depends on
This is nice.
what I.
Nice effect here with the gold.
Oh,
Sorry, sorry. Yeah, yeah. I
no,
just
no,
saw.
you're fine. So it depends on a lot. So it depends on, let's say, I set issue number two campaign for $8,000 is what I need minimum for 50 pages, and I only get like five of that. Well, then that means the rest of the money is going to have to come out of my pocket. And if I have it, I will absolutely do that, and it'll be 50 pages. If let's say that I'm at a hard spot in life to where I don't have the extra couple $1,000s saved up, it may turn into 30 pages or 40 pages.
Hmm.
It
So
really just
does this mean you have to adjust the story, or will you just put the ending somewhere else?
I will not sacrifice any of the story. So if that means that I have to go from 20 issues at 50 pages apiece to 21 because one issue was 30 pages, and then I have to put the other, you know, 30 or 25 pages, whatever you want to call it, into the another issue, then I'll do that. But I'm not going to sacrifice any dialogue or story simply because one campaign didn't, or even two campaigns didn't give me what I needed. I would just make more issues
Hmm.
at that point.
Sure. I must say, this is pretty easy to navigate. So I just noticed you can press on the page and you get a
Yeah,
zoom in.
that's what I was talking about, where you can click on whatever page
Yeah,
that you're on, and you can,
yeah.
for desktop version, you can click just those side arrows.
Hmm.
Um,
Nice.
versus, yeah, like I said previously, it was a little um, the it was a little harder to navigate. People did not. I mean, they enjoyed the comic from the feedback that I got, but they didn't like having to exit out of that full screen mode that you're in right now,
Yeah.
and then have to go click next. Whereas now you can be full screen full time and just click next is
Oh, that's
to your heart's
nice.
content.
Cool. Guys, check out this comic, guys. You can read everything. That's great. All right. Is there something else on this page? You have artwork. You have characters.
Yeah. So if you wanted to go to characters, it kind of gives you a brief character description of who they are,
Yeah.
where they came from, what they did in life, and then I have a
Cool.
YouTube video connected to their.
I have a video also. Do you want us to watch the video?
You can watch a few seconds if you wanted to. It's just their character music,
So
and
just music.
it's
Okay.
the animation as well. The I discussed previously where I had their portraits animated.
Hmm. Right. Eleanor Dullahan.
Mhm. And
Cool. Yeah.
I kind of put in a backstory of each one,
Hmm.
so people can get a feel for the time period that they are from.
Right.
Especially Furka. I think I did a pretty good job, if I do say so myself, on doing Furka's backstory and describing where she's from, her time period.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah. So you have so these people these were once humans,
Correct. They
and
were human at one point.
they died and they went to hell, right? So you
Mhm.
have like people from all time periods together. Uh,
That is correct. Yeah. So yeah, the general premise of the underworld is everybody in this universe, regardless of what you believe in real life. So just in this universe, so I don't upset people. When you die, you go to your judgment day and you're judged. If you
mhm.
lived a less than good life, you go to hell.
Yeah.
So everybody who is sort of in in here so far, I'm trying really hard to not spoil any future uh,
Sure.
content. So far, the what people see now with the characters in the comic, everybody who has died has gone to hell, and everybody who is in the underworld got there from one of the trains, whether they were seeking new opportunities, whether they were seeking to become a part of a mafia family, or be a don, make their own
Hmm.
family. They went to the underworld to do that.
Right. This is really pretty. So
Thank you. That is definitely one of my favorite art pieces that the studio has done. Is the character banner.
really nice. If you ever make a book, right, you can make this a bookmark.
Yeah, it could be a bookmark. I do have a merch store that
Right.
is not up yet. It'll be up fairly soon. I'm having some of the artwork redone
Hmm.
to be put on shirts a lot better, a lot easier.
Right.
Um, so once that's done, there will be a merch store with T-shirts and hoodies, and that character banner is on a hoodie. And this, what you're looking at right now, Furka, that is a poster. So each of the main
Cool.
cast has their own poster.
Nice. It's nice art, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
And hopefully people can kind of get an idea of the sort of character's personality in those art pieces as well. That was my intuition and thought when I had commissioned those. You can sort of see a blend of their powers, what they can do, and if they play an instrument, what they can play.
Hmm. All
Just
right.
just some little character details I thought would be nice for readers to kind of help get them into the characters a little bit.
Sure. And they celebrate Christmas in hell also.
Um, Clavius does. He was a Catholic in life, and so
Right.
he's big on Christmas. And I do go into people have asked about this. I will go into detail about this later and why they're doing what they're doing.
He was a
Um,
Catholic and still he went to hell.
you find out later why he went there willingly. Let's say.
All right. Okay. 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 Cool. Okay. Cool. There was artwork. Read. You can donate. There your contact information. You have some nice
I will
sketches.
say the donate. So I am since I've overhauled everything on this website. I'm still the donate page works, but the link to donate does not. I have canceled my PayPal.
Oh,
Um, they decided to get a little too political for my tastes.
right. Yeah.
So I canceled my PayPal donation links. I think I've decided on going with Stripe for my donations.
Hmm.
So I'm working on getting my Stripe link integrated into that.
Sure.
But everything else, from the signing up to the newsletter to the contact page, those links do work. So if anybody wants to get in
Right.
contact with me, whether it be to collab or what have you. My contact page 100% works, so that's the easiest way to get in contact with me.
So
Um,
what kind of collaborations are you looking for with people?
I'm looking to network with anybody and everybody. It could be
All right.
something as, hey, I'm going to Comic-Con in California. I think your comic and mine would look really good next to each other in a booth.
All right.
Would you want to
Sure.
go with me? We can share a price for booth or what have you. Would you want to do that? And it could even be something like, hey, I really liked your comic. Would you be willing to maybe let me use some artwork on one of my YouTube channels, etc. Anything and everything. Get in touch with me.
Right.
I'm looking to network. So
All right. And the main page on the home page, guys, you have this sign up button. You can sign up, and so when you do start a campaign, people get notified. Um,
yeah,
Great.
people will. I will send a kind of like an email blast of, hey, campaign for Underworld Don issue #2 is live at, like I said,
Yes.
Indiegogo, wherever I decide to do my campaign.
Mhm.
I haven't come to a decision on who I want to go with yet. I
Sure.
don't like that people have been shadow banned. People that I have supported have been
Right.
shadow banned on these places. I
Mhm.
do not want to support those places if at all possible. But then again, a lot of people have had a lot of success at these places. So I'm kind of cut between a rock and a hard place of do I choose one of these other funding websites to help fund my comic, even though they've shadow banned
Fund
people
my comic.
in
That's
the
another
past.
one.
That is I have talked with um,
Luke.
I, I don't know who it was, but somebody who runs that.
Yeah.
We've talked on Twitter a little bit, and they've
Mhm.
said that I'm more than welcome to go there and use that to fund Underworld Don #2. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's a new
I may
platform,
do
so
that.
they're starting up, right? It's
Mhm.
fairly new, but you have to see through that and see the potential that the site has. I think it's a platform that we need as indie creators. It's made by indie creators for indie creators. It's free from censorship, right? Because they are
Mhm.
against censorship. So it's um, it's something worth considering.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm not sure who I was talking to on Twitter about it. I know I saw like somebody was posting about it, and then I reached out and I said, hey, this looks like a really good place where I may be able to actually,
Yep.
fund my comic, and then we kind of had a discussion about that. So yeah, that for right now, that looking like that's where I'll be going for Underworld Don #2.
Sure.
So yeah, and like you said, support indie creators. That's very big for me. And like I said, even if the stars do align and I can do this for a living, I will only ever hire indie creators. I'm not gonna ever
Mhm.
go to a big company.
Right.
I'm not gonna ever, go to these people who just don't have the passion for
Will you
creation.
ever will you ever use AI uh,
I,
generating
uh,
software?
I, I have tried very hard to stay out of that. Let's call it a debate because I see the good and the bad of it. I have my best friend Brittany. She is an animator, and I've had this discussion with her. She is very much support the artist. I am too, so I will say that. But I also see how AI creation can help people who may not have a lot of money, may not have the funds to, hire somebody and pay the thousands of dollars that this costs to do this. I
Mhm.
see how it can help them at least get their foot in the door. I would not recommend ever doing AI art for a full comic, but if you're doing AI art for maybe concept art for a character and your drawing skills are very poor like my own, then I see the appeal definitely because artists, in my experience, artists definitely are able to give you much better artwork themselves when they know the direction that you're going in, and sometimes a sketch may not give them the direction that they need or can see. Sometimes a character description, while good, may come out different than the way you're envisioning it in your mind. So if you can get AI art to do concept art really well for you, sure. But to answer your question, will I ever use it? I don't think so. Thankfully, I'm blessed with having a really good daytime job that pays well, to where I can afford to hire
Hmm.
artists to do artwork for me.
Right.
And this is my passion. So all of my other hobbies have taken a back seat. So I used to be really into building computers, which is extraordinarily expensive. I don't do that anymore. All of my fun money, so to speak, goes towards Underworld Don and my future issues for
Yes.
that.
Yes. This is your project. This is your thing for the next few years, right? You have
Right.
big plans.
And if it God willing, if it takes off, just so people know, all the money that goes towards Underworld Dawn will go to Underworld Dawn to support it. Now, after it being self-sustainable, and by self-sustainable, I mean I'm making enough money from Underworld Dawn sales, in the merch store or comic book sales, etc., what have you. If
Mm.
I'm making enough money to where it's self-sustainable, to where I don't have to put in any more of my money, then my money will go towards making another comic book. Underworld Dawn will still be supported. I will still be doing other issues of Underworld Dawn.
Yeah, you
But
want to
any
branch out.
Yes, I want all of my stories to be put into comic book form.
Sure. Yeah.
I want my children's stories to come out, my superheroes to come out. And I say superhero, but they're more like anti-heroes. I have never been a big fan of superheroes. I don't think they really do what they need to do to kill the villain off, because they don't kill the villain off. I've always been when I read comics, I'm like, Batman just killed the Joker. Then you won't have this problem anymore. Stop sending him to,
Right. Yeah.
Arkham Asylum. Stop sending him to jail. You just kill him, and he won't have this issue anymore. And Superman as well. He doesn't, in my opinion, he has gotten dark. I will say that he has gotten dark in some of his issues, but he doesn't do what I think needs to be done. I've been more of a Doctor Doom fan, who to
Okay.
me is an anti-hero. I know people call him a villain, but he's an anti-hero. If you're an underworld, excuse me, if you're a Doctor Doom fan and you read the Doctor Doom comics, you'll see why he's more of an anti-hero than a villain.
Right.
So, and he's
Okay.
someone who doesn't you know mince words. He gets straight to the point, which I really like. Um, and yeah, so yeah, my superheroes are more anti-heroes. I'm definitely more of a villain anti-hero writer than a superhero writer. Now, when I get into my children's stuff, that's of course going to be for children. That's going to have my children's books have family values in them, and
Hmm.
they're for little boys and little girls. Mostly for little boys, because I am a male myself, so it's kind of hard for me to write stuff for little girls. But I do have stuff for little girls in some of my stories, where they can find value in that, as far as parental values, children on family values and all that go.
Okay. All right. Great. Big plans, right?
Oh,
So
I've got very big plans.
for now it's Underworld Dawn. So
Mhm.
people can check it out. I have the link, guys. The link is in the description of this video. Check it out. You can read the entire first issue, all 50 pages, for free. Plus, you can follow Calvin on Twitter. I have your Twitter handle also in
Oh,
description,
thank you. Yeah,
Calvin.
thank you.
So yeah, because people wanted to know what's next for Underworld Dawn, right? That was the
Yeah,
question
the
that we start with.
campaign number 2 is coming up fairly soon.
So do you have
Um,
a timeline? Maybe when do you
a
think?
timeline, I'm thinking around the fall,
All right.
because I'm trying to line everything up with. I'm going to be in the Iron Age magazine anvil that's coming out. So that's coming out, I think, in June. I think is when that'll be coming out. So I'm going to be in that. I would like a couple months to build up my fan base, to assure that I have the fan base and the connections needed as well. For
Hmm.
people like your good self that can maybe help me get the word out for when the campaign goes live. So I'm still in that process of building the fan base, building my connections.
Yeah.
And once fall rolls around, um, I'm confident people can look to see Underworld Dawn issue number 2 campaign coming out.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, man. Well, whenever you have a campaign, reach out to me, man, and we'll showcase it here. So thank you, Calvin, for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me on, and I will absolutely reach out to you. And if any of the viewers, are watching this now or in the future, if you want to hire the same artist that I've hired, he's very good, very professional. I highly recommend him. Feel free to reach out to me, or if they want to reach out to you, and you want to get back with me, however they want to do that, or however they're comfortable.
Oh,
Obviously,
sure.
let me know. He's definitely someone who's looking to expand over here in the West.
Right. He does
So
commissions. Right.
yes.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, Calvin. Thanks again, and special thanks to the chat for everyone who watched the show, for liking. Please like this stream if you enjoyed the conversation. Share it with people, and I will be back next week. Same time, same channel, new guest. Hope to see you guys then. So bye bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.